Welcome to Girl Call Me with Tanya,
And Jessica,
the podcast where Black women's voices shine.
come for the empowerment and storytelling and stay for the sisterhood.
Girl Call Me with Tanya and Jessica's new episodes every Wednesday, everywhere you get podcasts.
Head over to girlcallme.com to find out all the ways we can continue the conversation together. Girl, I never
What?
thought I would say, listen to Cat Williams.
You know what? I've always known. Before we go down the rabbit hole, which is really a rabbit hole at this point, first of all, we want to say welcome.
Right. We are searching for joy like it's gold around
We
here.
are digging for joy.
49ers. 49ers.
But
trying to find it.
We are still living our joy. Did you say still alive? If that's the standard for which where we are going, Lord. No, we still have our health. We still have a potential first Black, Asian American female president that will happen in 39 days. Because guess what? Girl, it cannot come soon enough.
Yeah, look. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me that there's something on the horizon. There is something that we need to just keep walking towards. And that joy is named
Kamala is our joy. And you know, with all of the Black excellence that we saw at the DNC, that we have seen with, you know, all of the women who have come out and shown out for her, we also have seen a few other things.
Girl, you know what? It's those moments where, like, you know, when you hear something in the news and then you're like, please don't be a Black person. It's like that. We've been living with that feeling lately where it's like, there, you know, you just see an alert and you're like, come on, another one? Like, why? What are we doing? From politics to music to, I mean, it's everywhere. We have people showing out, showing their asses.
You know, we're joking about there is a lot of Black excellence, but there's also, as we said, there's been a lot of cracks and there's been a lot of disappointment in just some people who, not that we were like, oh, we're like, you know what? I used to bop to that music. You know, maybe it's you were just bopping to that music.
Right.
Or you would turn on the TV and be like, he's a hot mess. I don't know how they voted for him. Or maybe she threw a phone. I mean, at some point she threw a phone in the 90s and you're like, you know what? But she evolved, right? But clearly they haven't.
So where are we going to start? You want to start with this?
Do we want to start with hair grease or and baby oil?
You know, I haven't even been really tracking his story because it's just I mean, I know your title algorithm is tragic right now because you're trying to unwind all that.
Right. I watch dog videos. We could start with Mayor Adams, who we all knew was he and Diddy. I mean, they're all connected, right? I mean, New York.
Look, the thing about Mayor Adams is you can tell when someone is about to get found out for doing something really dirty or has that just in them because they start isolating themselves from the community and start linking up with a certain type of person. And in New York, we all know that type of person, right? It's the legal criminal of sort, but suddenly he's aligning himself. And it's like, yeah, because he knows in 6, 9, 12, 18 months, that's who he's going to need the support from.
He starts talking about the border and how he's disappointed in the border. And then he starts like talking to Republicans.
And you're like, whose border are you worried about with New York? Dude, Ellis Island? Dude, like, what are you talking about? Mayor Adams. Oof,
girl,
what a fall
what
from
grace.
We can't even call that a fall from grace, though.
One be like, yo, she be in the club, literally not focused.
And remember, he was the one when he ran. They found him in like an apartment in Jersey, And he was like, "This ain't mine. I live in New York City." They were like, What are you
Right.
doing in this basement
But I will
garden apartment
say
in
for our
Jersey,
New
sir?"
Yorkers, and I could call myself one because I was born there, it's not like they've made great
Right.
decisions about their
No,
mayors
but you know what?
and,
Look,
they're not made great decisions. The guy de Blasio, whatever his name was.
de Blasio ate pizza
Right.
with a
I
fork.
mean, and
That was the first problem. People are like, "Oh,
sister, he
okay,
had a
he's got a black wife, you know. He works out at the YMCA," and then
and
it was like,
then he
"Oh, he's
started like
trash."
actually talking and having policy that was there was zero. Girl,
Giuliani,
I
Bloomberg.
mean,
Yeah,
right.
it's not
And
a
then
great.
it's the first black one too. Oh, bruh, you messed it up. But, we can't talk about Mayor Adams without talking about the person who is currently not getting bail right now. And that is who Cat Williams prophesied. He told us in
He told
January.
you.
He told us,
He told you in January, he said stuff
right.
it's about to start happening. Start to
Everybody
see
needs
some
to go
things
back
happening.
to that interview that he did with Shannon. Let's
Yeah.
not. We might have to talk about that live video.
You cannot start an Instagram live by accidentally dropping your phone. Okay? So
It is
you
very
clout
hard to
chasing.
do an Instagram live.
You clout chasing brother who's trying to clearly tell people he trying to fight back the gay rumors. Get out of here.
It could have been. It could
You
have
did
been
it.
her. It could have been her trying to, but she could have sold it. She
I
didn't sell
mean,
it.
and he came out, he said, I was hacked. I was hacked.
Brother, you weren't hacked.
Brother.
nobody, nobody hacked you.
Did you were like the only way you were hacked is maybe if you weren't actually having sex, but like you were not hacked. Okay. It happened. Bless you. And did you see his apology
It looked
video
like a
or
prison
whatever that
video.
was? He said, I just, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't
We all know.
stop.
You press send.
Stop. You needed the
Girl,
streams.
how many followers did he have? Girl, he had a lot of
This
followers after that.
That is so embarrassing. He said, my phone was going off the hook. Everyone was calling me. My agent was calling me. This person was calling me. And I was
An
engaged
act.
in an adult situation. We don't
Nobody
care.
cared, but everybody cared
Shannon.
when they saw X. Was it X or Instagram? I don't even know.
It was
It is
Instagram. It was Instagram.
That's impossible. That is
It's not easy.
as someone
It's
who
not easy.
posts and always has a phone dial or butt dial somebody and is always on Instagram.
It's not easy.
It's been a rough month.
Everything. And he was
That was
right.
right.
Cat Williams was right. He was like,
Baby,
look,
those parties, you got to
wow.
leave at, I think you leave at midnight. What time do you leave? But I
Right.
think it's like,
That's
I
what
think
he
we need to
said.
really, address, you can laugh about that, but I think that there are victims, there are children,
Oh, for
he
sure.
has children and God knows what they've seen. There's a lot of dead bodies.
There's a lot of people who have, because he's owned so many businesses, there's a lot of people that have worked for Diddy who think that the way he does things, there's a gold standard. And, I grew up in this company or this company, and it's like what? People need retraining on like what an executive is, what a
How do you
leader
put bad boy
is,
on your
because
resume at this point?
there's some.
How do you put
Oof.
after 20 years, I worked at Bad Boy. Oh, okay. Maybe not. And then, we won't
Right.
talk about Mark Robinson and his trashiness, but it's funny because you kind of go, okay, is it all the men? What's going on with the men?
Are you're talking about the arson victim?
I do want to
Mark
find
Robinson.
out, how did he catch on fire?
Yeah, because the articles aren't very
It was an
clear about it.
incident.
It's just that he caught on fire. And let me guess, he's going to have to be off the campaign trail as they just, give him some time. And then perhaps these injuries become career limiting. And now suddenly we don't see him again. I have a feeling that's
how did he catch on fire? Was he at a campaign event?
Girl, the same way that he was writing comments on adult sites in an open forum, thinking that people weren't going to know who he was.
Fire. Like there is a sign. The Lord don't play.
He caught physically, spiritually, and mentally. He caught on fire. He went up in flames.
Yeah, and when we continue on the disappointment train, then we have to go to our favorite old school model.
Oh,
I
she's
mean,
never been
come on.
my
At some
favorite
point, she
model.
rehabbed herself. Okay. I thought
Naomi Campbell? Yeah, we've just learned how she's given to the people. Her charity gives she sits on a board where the charity gives 9% of dollars towards mission.
yeah, I mean,
9%. For people out there who are
right.
just wondering
That's
what the
not.
benchmark
It's
is,
you. It's
it's like
honestly,
79
it
to
in
100.
theory, it should be about 80%. So you're usually giving about 80%,
80%.
and then you have overhead.
Yeah.
Yes. So for some nonprofits, is some they usually between 10 to 20%.
Yeah.
She was, and it's not like she was buying designer
9%.
clothes. So it seems as though she's been stripped of her duties from the board.
Trips, con
Yes.
film festival
It's
trips, all expenses paid, all for the
So
nonprofit.
yeah, I know it sounds like we're going down a rabbit hole. Didn't we have Joy at some point? I'm not
Joy.
going to go to
We
Joy
did find
until we
joy.
talk about Janet Jackson
Joy and
because I need
pain.
Janet to get it right. I was so mad.
Look,
I was so mad.
Janet, both of us
I mean,
gave you our
no, this
coins
year,
last year.
girl, I was at a
But
concert.
oh,
Oh,
okay, well, I was at a concert last year, gave her my coins, girl, dancing on stage
I
with
was there.
dancing
I
for
was
her and
there. I was
Ludacris.
in it.
Like,
I was in it. And then you're gonna come up, and then you're gonna come
Nettie,
up,
Nettie.
president principal. I mean, and now you're saying, now you're telling us,
I d- I bought a T-shirt and dressed up like Janet Jackson, and now you're questioning someone's. Oh, is she really black? I don't
okay,
need
don't go,
you,
you're going
ma'am.
down. I
You knew
I
where I
know
was
where you're
going.
going.
I don't need you race
Right, and
baiting
listening,
people.
you're literally using the same words that he used.
What a shame. What does Janet Jackson think? Now, look, she did have. Isn't her
Yes.
baby's father a
She don't need
billionaire?
you could have said anything. By the way, she's on tour. She's 50 something. She looks great. I'm gonna say that.
I'm not talking about her. I'm saying someone probably said to her, "You want your wallet to keep looking great. You want your bank account to keep looking great. You
Well,
can say
someone said it
something."
was Randy
I'm sure.
because Randy is uninformed and he's her manager.
Jackson? Wait,
Randy
Are we
Jackson.
talking about what up, dog?
No, her
Randy
brother,
Fat
the
Jack?
youngest.
Oh,
Girl, I need you to get it together. But,
following in the footsteps of their morally corrupt father,
this is where
Joseph.
we're going.
Like, is this what
So
we're really talking
let's
about?
just, when we think about it, why do we even care about this topic? Why?
I'll tell you why. Because some people, that's the only Janet Jackson's the only black person they know, and now they're like, see,
Mhm.
look at they had a great family,
And
grew
so,
up in under didn't have money, and from Gary, Indiana, and even
I
they're
know
voting for
they need
Trump.
an excuse. Listen, if you need an excuse on, at this point, you already have your excuse. You don't need Janet to help. And you know what? That's the whole point.
Jan,
Someone said, I can't remember who it was, that maybe artists shouldn't even put their opinion out there because you
oh,
said
I'm
you
not
said
gonna.
we need a Beyonce and we needed Taylor.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that you're not gonna hear that from me because I'm riding with Taylor Swift
Now,
all day
did you
now
buy
these
did you
days.
buy a shirt?
Still don't know. Yes, I bought a Kamala shirt with the money I would have bought on her albums, but yeah, I still don't know a name of her songs, but I'm with her. I'm
We're
riding. Is it true? Is it
yes,
true that
they
her
both came
boyfriend
out.
came out too?
So you're now riding with
Great.
what is his
In
team?
support. No, the Chiefs. No, I'm not riding with. I don't support the NFL, so you can go on record with that. But I look, you're not gonna get me caught up. But I will say, I think it's fine for people
Yeah.
to endorse people. I just think I don't like I appreciated when Taylor did it because she talked about her
Right.
individual interests,
Her cat.
why it meant something to her. Janet, what does someone have her cat? Janet, what does someone being black enough have to do with you? Like, what does that have to do with who you're
Especially with
voting
their
for? I don't even
complicated. I mean,
understand.
they have a complicated family history.
They have a complicated relationship with race, and then you're coming out here wagging fingers about race. I don't know why
Yeah.
you're holding back. Are we not allowed to
You
say
know
they have a
what? The black
complicated relationship
community
with
still
race?
go right. I'm gonna go. We're gonna have to talk about that because regardless of what Janet has done, and might I say, and I won't say, her brother may have done allegedly, there is
Mhm.
still the black community is gonna ride. They're gonna ride. They're gonna buy that ticket. They're gonna be, hey, they're gonna be getting excited when the next song comes out. And,
So problematic. Self-included, we're both
girl,
problematic. We both were like, "Girl, we went to that Michael Jackson tour too."
we went to the
That little
Broadway
Broadway
show.
show.
When if his song came out, we were
Uh,
when it's hell, it's almost, Halloween. Thriller is gonna be on every 5 minutes. I mean,
this is such a problem.
we
We're gonna
are
get
about to get
canceled. I'm canceling us.
we are about to get
I'm canceling
canceled.
us.
But the funny thing is, none of us are riding for R. Kelly. None of us riding for R.
No,
Kelly, right?
no.
But
I don't ride for Michael Jackson. That's not true. I mean, it doesn't matter. I gave money.
you
I don't know where it
you
went.
went.
Probably
Did you
Janet
really? Or was it the
pocket.
estate? His kids. His kids.
Great.
Um, but I will say, why? It's funny because one of the points I wanted to talk to you about is why do we rush to forgive celebrities? Because regardless of what some may do, there is a part of us that will go, you know what? Last night. I mean, I I'm just saying.
To be
Let's
totally
be
honest here,
honest.
it's a lot. I think it's a little harder to. Actually, I don't know what I was going to maybe say it's a little harder to forgive Black
Ooh,
men in
we
certain
really getting canceled.
situations when it's situations targeting Black
Mm,
women. I have a really hard time with that, right? Like that's like I don't. That's a no question for me. Like that's why the R. Kelly thing is
done.
like, okay, targeting
Done.
teens and Black
Right.
women teen, I'm done.
Right.
You're done. You're trash. So that is like a non-negotiable. But you're right. We end up like waffling on other people and being like, oh, I don't support him, but like I don't need to delete my playlist. Look, I feel like forgiving, today, the responsibility that people with a microphone have, including the two of us sitting in front of a microphone. But I do think you have to think about what you're putting out into the world and what you're saying. And like if Janet Jackson came out and said like she didn't mess with Kamala because she felt like she didn't understand enough about what she was going to do for the economy, or she didn't feel like she has a track record on immigration. Like that would maybe
Yeah,
be
we
a
would
different
disagree, but we wouldn't
conversation.
be like, okay,
Not
girl,
maybe.
you're
Yeah.
stupid. Right.
Be like, fine, whatever. Yeah. But to fall into this MAGA, like, let me like identity
Yeah.
politics
And that
thing
is
is
nuts.
crazy.
And, I think that, it's also easier, I think, for myself. We don't know them. It's kind of easier to kind of go, and we do. I hear this a lot, and I get annoyed with people excusing some bad behavior. We're like, but do we separate the art from the individual? Because I love their art,
Right.
but should I not? I don't think you can separate I don't think you can separate it.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, I don't think you can either. And or I think that you have to expect that your audience can't. So like if you some may not. And so you have to be understanding of like I guess that's in the case of opinion. In the case of like Diddy, like bro, you're done. Like no one should
Nobody.
mess with you. It's going to take a long time because his hand was in so many things, no pun intended. His hand was in so many things that you're going to have to it's going to take a lot of time to unwind. Like, am I not listening to music that
I
he
mean,
produced?
what
Am I not
happened to
listening to
Faith?
music that he
Faith,
made? Am I not?
Little Kim, Mary J, who announced her
Right.
tour
Right.
a couple weeks ago. That was awkward. I mean, and
I
I've
don't
seen
know about
Mary
that.
J, her and her
I don't know
dance
about
moves. I mean, I've seen her.
what year was that? 96?
Real
Real Love?
love. Girl, she has more. She has,
I love that.
yeah.
She has hits. No, I'm
I mean,
joking. I
right.
like her. I like her songs. But he's the producer
He's
on
a producer, but so
most of her music, right?
that now, and of course we were never listening to Danny DeCane, but that now, that
Never
I
once.
mean,
Not
well,
one
I mean, the
spin.
list is long of the people that he
Yeah.
produced. I'm not going to
Yeah.
say.
What Mace say? Mace told you
Listen,
early on too. He
he
was
did
like, I'm going
say,
to find Jesus.
listen, and someone
I'm going
asked
to
him on a
find
podcast. He goes,
Jesus.
"How does he feel?" He goes, "He wore green. He wore a green tie.
He said,
It was like in honor of." So clearly, there's a story. He has a
he
book.
said,
He has a book
look,
to write.
he said, I went to find
And
Jesus.
he found
I
him.
knew what it
And
was.
yeah. So,
Right.
it's funny because when we move the lens, we're talking about accountability and forgiveness in some sense of the way. How do we, turn the lens on ourselves and people in our lives? Do we have the same grace that we would give because they didn't write our favorite song, but they may have
Right. Because people
birthed
mess
us?
up.
That
Oh,
would be me. That's another episode that we
well,
would not. That'll be a
I was
mother.
like, let's be
That'll be a
clear.
mother.
Shout out to my mom. Shout out to my shout out to my
That
mom.
was
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I don't I am pretty good at forgiving myself as I've gotten older. I don't hold but I am a lot harder on myself and I hold myself to much higher standards than I do other people sometimes. And that's probably being part of that's being Black women and just knowing that you're under a microscope all of the time. And so if you don't hold yourself accountable, someone else is going to be quick to do it. And they're going to do it in a way that's going to take you down, not in a way that's going to build you up and help you grow. How do you deal with forgiveness for yourself? I have a feeling you're probably the opposite of me
I
and
think
harder on
I'm
yourself.
hard on myself on some ways and other things. Like I'm really good at mental block. I compartmentalize like no one
Mm,
else. And so I literally can block out half of my what's going on and just be like, okay, this. But I think if you were in my family, you would say that I have a hard time. I will talk to you and I will support you, but I'm not sure I would forgive you
right.
as easy
Mm,
as, and I don't forgive myself. I mean, I hold on to stuff so deeply. I remember when I got divorced, my first marriage, I moved to Texas and I was in an apartment for 6 months with no furniture and literally sitting on a bed because I felt like I was literally punishing myself. Now, was it my fault?
mm,
I don't think so. I mean, it was just a thing that ended. But I remember for 6 months, I remember my best friend going, okay, it's now time for you to leave your house. And I was working, but I would go to work, but I would like literally not just do anything that caused luxury or do anything that was going
mm.
to make me happy because I was punishing myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For letting people down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And often it's like not
Right.
letting ourselves down. Because if we were punishing ourselves because we let ourselves down, that would be a very different story. But it's often we feel like we're
Right.
letting someone else down. Someone else's needs are more
Right.
important than us,
Right.
and we're
And
letting them
so
down.
how do you shed if you don't? How do you move through? How do you move through that? It took me a long time. I will say that therapy really helped me, but still, I go back and forth and waffle in that moment in which I'm like, it's very easy for me to go back to that rabbit hole.
Mm,
I think
right.
sometimes we struggle with depression, even if we're all happy and we pretend to be happy. It's still hard sometimes. And I think as Black women, you feel like the whole race is on your back. So you can't really, if you make a
Right.
mistake,
Right.
you have the whole entire community that you're disappointing.
Right. Or you're like the first in your family who's done something. So now you're letting down your family, you're letting down your
Right.
community, you're
Right.
letting down, yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but, as we just mentioned, the impact of self disappointment on mental health and self esteem. There's a lot of people who didn't have someone to talk to and allow that disappointment to take them on a deep path. And so I think that we always talk about it, and we talked about it in our episode last week with Dr. Janet, that community is so important, and having people that you can talk to and people who aren't going to judge you.
Yeah. Safety is really important. I think that feeling like you're in a space where you're not being judged, where someone's there to hold you and support you without judgment is really important. I think that And yes, we were talking a lot
Yes,
of trash about people early on
They deserve some.
who deserve it. But I think part of that is like who's in their community holding them accountable, because
Girl.
it goes on both sides, right? It's like you need someone who's there to hold you up, but you also need people sometimes to check you and be like, this, this isn't serving you, or this isn't, a good look for you, or, whatever. I think that the community, we don't build a community of yes people around you. You need to build a community of people who really care about you and who are truth seekers and truth tellers and can hold you accountable. And I think that
All of
like
them.
in a lot
I
of
think
these
all of them.
cases, all of them had bad company around them. Like you look at the rap sheet of the people who went down with Naomi Campbell, girl, it's like her whole crew. Diddy, stop. Whole crew. How many people
Mayor
knew, how
Adams,
many people, like,
everyone.
so
everyone surrounding
oh
him.
my,
Right. And then,
everybody
you
knew.
think about the man on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a whole Republican Party.
And we're not talking about Katniss Everdeen from. Wait, his wife got burned too. I heard.
I thoughts and prayers to all of them.
I mean, yeah, Tim Scott, God bless you. I hope she's holding you down, because
Girl,
we all need somebody.
I was gonna
and I can
I'm
tell you.
gonna stop myself right there. He did get married. Yes, he did. But there's just but the accountability piece for people in power is so real when you think about the fact that, when you're talking about community and you're talking about people, and especially if you're employing the people surrounding you, that's the other thing, the power dynamics that exist with those people. I mean, all of those people, all of them were employing the people around them, and they all got in trouble with you.
Right. Look at Trump. That's your boy.
Wait.
Look at Trump.
Not
look
my boy.
Not your boy. I mean, their
boy.
No, I mean their boy. I'm saying look around. Like, how's that working out for the people that were around him? Not 50 years ago, like 8 years ago. Who were the people around him? Remember
God.
Scaramucci?
They're all
Pence?
voting. They're all voting.
Roger Stone.
They're all
Where are all
They're
of
all
them?
voting.
They're gone.
Scaramucci, he's on every day. He was at the DNC. I mean, everybody was at the DNC. I mean, it's funny. I mean, we've talked before about the gifts of imperfection. And on all these instances, including when we're talking about ourselves, it's important to accept our imperfection as part of being human, and that we all have cracks. There is zero. And if you do was it bad judgment or just a mistake, that you acknowledge it and you try to ask for forgiveness and keep moving. And you have to accept responsibility. You have to acknowledge and you have to accept.
Yeah.
And, heal from it, when we're connecting it to our own selves. Right. How do you heal? And I'm sure there's been instances in your life. How do you heal from feeling as though you disappointed or you made a mistake?
How do I heal? I just, basics shame spiral. Nothing's bad. I allow it to just run its course and then
you start eating. What are you eating? What ice cream are we eating this day?
Exactly. Yeah, it's usually a tortilla chip followed by another 30, and then shame spiral, and then
that's
what else?
Tips.
It's cool.
Good tips.
Yeah, it's totally healthy.
Brown liquor,
followed by
brown
vodka,
liquor.
and then
I know it's brown liquor.
That's what it really is brown liquor. I think it's funny that my inner voice is someone asked me the other day, like, what is the sound of your inner voice? And I was like, my inner voice is sneaky because it's not outright shameful. Like, I didn't actually understand shame for a really long time because I was like, I don't ever say bad things to myself. Like, I'm never because I heard it as like a reprimand, and my voice is never doing that. So shame for me shows up in like these ways where it is more of like, well, you shouldn't do that. You couldn't do, that this didn't work out for you because XYZ, right? It's more of this like resigning to the fact of, girl, you should have known that you weren't going to be able to do this, this, and this, right? So that for me is more of, yeah, it's not outright like degrading. It's more of just this like questioning myself and being like, you should have known better. And that
will take me
part
down
was
a
really hard
spiral.
for me.
The thing is that because I feel I should always know better. Or I should be better. I should be, so I'm like, oh my God, and it's so funny. I'm really lucky to be married to someone who doesn't go down the rabbit hole and the spiral with me and literally will.
Yeah, mine either. He stands at the top like, girl, what are you doing down there?
Come
And
back
when
up.
are
Like,
you coming back?
right. And
Because I'm
it's
not
like,
going down to get
okay,
you.
it's usually, okay, well, you sound like you're going to be harder on yourself than anybody else. So it's time to like dust
Right.
yourself off, keep it moving, and let's think through a plan.
Yeah.
And so I think that, not having, if I had someone that was in the hole with me, girl,
No, none. Never. It's the storytelling storytelling is my superpower and also my Achilles
girl,
heel
the
all at the
stories.
same time, because I could tell you and I could whip up a narrative like you've never heard before. Doesn't mean it's true. It
It's true.
probably
Okay, can
isn't.
I tell you one story I told myself? So
Yeah.
this is insane. So I was, I realized through good therapy and, life that I was gay. And so I was obviously an adult. I was like, they call it older second life or whatever. And I was
Mm,
on a cruise with my best friend who is gay and in a very happy long term marriage, right? Girl, I was scared to tell
okay.
her because so we're on the and she'll tell the story. So we're on the deck on this cruise, and I think I really even planned this cruise for this. So I'm like,
Right. Wait, was it wait, hold on a second.
no,
Was
no,
this a
it's just a
gay
cruise.
cruise, did you
Just a
say?
cruise, just a good old
Oh,
fashioned.
okay.
It was a
Okay.
birthday cruise.
I
It was a
thought you
birthday
went
cruise.
that
It was a
far.
birthday
I
cruise.
thought you went
And so
that
we're on
far.
there, we're
Okay.
on the deck, and I said, I have to tell you something. And she said, yes, I think I like chicks. That was a quote. And she's like, okay. And then she asked a few questions. And she was like, I was like, well, I thought you weren't going to love me. I was like, but she's like, I am married to woman. What are you talking about? But this is the story.
The story.
It's my own self
Yeah.
internalized. And then when she listens to
Yeah.
this episode, she's going to be like, oh
Right.
my God, I can't believe she talked about that. Hey.
Hey, girl, hey,
But
here we
it's
are.
just we tell ourselves things, and if you were to say it out loud,
Yeah.
half the time,
Yeah.
people would be looking at you like you're
Yeah.
crazy.
I Well, I do it to my best friend all the time. I'll say something and I'll just allow myself to say it, especially in text message. And then I'll follow it up with a like, by the way, I'm asking this question because I've already told myself this, and this.
Right.
So just disregard it if none of
Right.
those things were true. And it's often like the eye roll emoji
Right.
and then the
And
laugh.
so, like I said, we think
Right.
people are nice who's gonna
Yeah.
give the eye roll emoji. But, when you think about it,
Yeah.
like
But think about that, how much that weighs when you're holding all of that and not forgiving yourself because of a narrative you told yourself, or someone told you something and then you picked up on it and then took it to a whole nother level. And you're not forgiving, not only are you not often forgiving yourself, but you're not even allowing yourself to be to just, be subjective and acknowledge like
no.
the situation,
Right.
right? You're caught up
You're
in
right.
your own
Instead of
narrative.
going right, and you're in that narrative, so you're like, "Oh, if I were to be grounded in this conversation and have I in
In
reality,
reality.
it would be a very different conversation, and I wouldn't be spiraling out of control."
Right. And let's just be honest that the spiraling out of control usually starts speeding up at about 10 p.m. And then it just by 2 to 3 a.m., you're in a full blown, like one of those carnival rides, like holding on while
Right,
your legs
right.
are like
That
out the
was a
side.
sleepless night.
And then by morning, you're like, I may have
Right,
gone too far.
right. Maybe I should have taken it back. But but anyway, I
Right.
mean, I think we've definitely run the gamut. But I think the key takeaway is whether we're trying to kind of navigate the world in which people who we sort of support or have supported have fallen, or whether we're trying to kind of support ourselves. I think the
Yeah.
biggest thing is really compassion.
Oof. That's a hard way to end. I mean, yes, it's
There's no
compassion.
compassion. We can't.
I mean,
Maybe self
well, I mean,
compassion.
I just don't want to like
Self
bring self.
compassion.
Yes, I
Self.
don't want to bring self and diddy
Didn't we
into
move
like the same
on? Yeah,
sentence,
because
but
Kat had no
yes.
compassion.
Yeah. Cat had none. But what did I tell you? You
You
need
know
truth
what?
tellers in your
Truth
life.
tellers. No one was.
But yes, for your all of us are going to make mistakes. All of us
Yeah.
are imperfect. You're right. And the only thing we can do is for ourselves,
Yeah.
be honest, hold ourselves accountable, and don't shame ourselves. But all we can do for other people is show up and hold them to that same accountability. I mean, I'm not in a space in life where I need yes people in my life. Like no interest, zero interest. Like I only want to be around people who I can have honest conversations with, and they can have honest conversations with me. And I really feel like you're on some journey to become a better version of yourself. And with that means failing. With that means, not getting it right. With that means disappointing someone. But it also means and then saying, hey, sorry I disappointed you. Hey, self, sorry I disappointed you. Like, what are we going to do to make it better next time?
Yeah. All testimony, all good stuff. All.
Girl.
And I hope that we can internalize that and really.
And we keep each other accountable all the time. Let me tell you, listeners.
I hope we can acknowledge that and really listen to that, because that was a word. And really self-forgive. When things go wrong, and it could be the smallest thing, it's like, okay, did I really? Okay, I fell short, next. And really don't go down the rabbit hole and really talk to somebody. Would love to hear from our listeners how they deal with disappointment and forgiveness.
Hey, it's Jessica. Thanks for listening to Girl Call Me. If you have something to add or a story to share, come on over to Instagram or Facebook and join the conversation. Also, make sure you follow and subscribe Girl Call Me. You don't want to miss when we release new episodes. Thanks for listening.